Over the past 50 years, beach four-wheel driving has become a huge part of Aussie culture, but as more and more beach lovers hit the sand in search of a cheap adventure, are these fragile ecosystems being loved to death?
What I love about the beach is being actually close to the ocean, hearing the waves, and having a sense of, I think, freedom, and also a sense of wide open expanses.
Professor Thomas Schlacher is one of the world's leading experts in beach ecology.
What we have learned is beaches are actually sensitive habitats. They are full of life, they're full of biodiversity, they are critical habitats for organisms which can live nowhere else.
But over the last 50 years, Aussie beaches have come up against a serious ecological threat.
On the same weekend a young driver lost his life, hoons show a reckless disregard on the very same beach.
It's legal to drive on a majority of regional beaches around Australia, including in national parks, with Victoria the only state in which it's banned.
There is no such thing as a trip down a beach in a vehicle which doesn't have some form of impact.
Experts say every part of the Aussie beach ecosystem is affected by four-wheel drive activity. The dunes are home to fragile plants. The soft sands on the upper shore are nesting spots for many bird species. Further down, the hard sand is filled with invertebrates like worms and clams, a key food source for fish at high tide. Thomas has just released a global meta-study outlining the effects of 4x4s on bird populations.
There's fewer species, the birds are stressed, the populations are going down. When the little chicks get run over, the adults getting flattened, or the nests getting destroyed.
Many Aussie beaches are also home to endangered nesting turtles, with the deep tyre ruts trapping hatchlings as they migrate to the ocean.
So here's a very dramatic example of how a single vehicle rut, or even a few vehicle ruts, can have a very dramatic impact. And eventually they overheat, they run out of energy, or they get eaten.
One of Brett Lynch's earliest memories is driving on the beaches of Gari, formerly known as Fraser Island, with his dad.
Bouncing around in the back of his old Series 2 Land Rover and just driving up the beach, and just the freedom that we felt from being able to do that was just amazing.
Now, the president of Bundaberg's 4x4 club, Brett believes it's only a minority of people who are doing the damage.
Some people just don't bother to learn the rules or don't want to follow them for whatever selfish reasons.
The Noosa North Shore has some of Australia's most popular beaches for four-wheel drivers, with one national park seeing more than 2,100 vehicles on its beaches in a single day earlier this year.
If I was out on the beach and there was 2,000 cars driving back and forth every day, I may as well just camp next to the Bruce Highway.
It's a sentiment many, but not all, locals agree with.
I think especially around the busy seasons, it's just mad. Like you can see cars all the way across.
Some days you can't get a camp spot along here and there's thousands of camp spots. It's just full.
It'd be pretty all right to keep the numbers the way they are, as long as people are respectful to the beach.
I could go back to the 1970s and all that, and it was just absolutely pristine, you know, it was absolutely beautiful, but I can see a lot of damage being done.
With the issue in a stalemate, Thomas and Brett agreed to meet to see if a compromise could be found.
We do this because it's fun. It's great. We really enjoy it. It's getting away from the hustle and bustle and everything like that.
But that is increasingly not the case anymore, because when you look at numbers now,
yes,
hustle and bustle has moved to the beach.
Yeah, there's definitely a limit, and we've definitely approached it or hit it or gone past it already. So if we can get that number reduced and get it back to that connection or the isolation, I mean, that's why I like it.
But should 90% of our national park beaches be a place for 4x4 enthusiasts?
The thing I like about them is some of the history and all of that is in those national parks. That's why I like going forward driving, is to find those stories.
We created national parks to protect nature, right? We need to have some sections where we say, look, maybe only emergency vehicles or rangers or whatever, because that balance needs to be reinstated, right?
Australia isn't the only country battling this problem. In the face of widespread ecological damage, South Africa banned all driving on beaches 20 years ago.
It had an enormously dramatic impact. Within a very, very short period of time, the bird populations recovered, the fish populations recovered.
But for many Aussies, driving on the beach is more than just a hobby.
My fondest memories growing up with my parents is camping. Those memories are just... my father passed away last year. That's all I have of him now is that. And so being able to share that with my kids, and it just helps them have those memories and sort of keeps those memories alive.
I'm not an advocate or a proponent for a blanket ban, never. But we cannot actually continue a use practice which jeopardizes what all of our kids want to enjoy in decades to come. I think we got an incredible moral obligation to pass on ecosystems and not dead piles of sand.
I hate banning things, but they've got to better regulate it, surely.
But how do you get to these places if you don't use a four-wheel drive? Like for me, growing up on Bribie Island, we drove 15 k's up to Second Lagoon. It's a pretty long walk, you know, with camping gear.
But if it were just that, I suspect we're not having this conversation.
Yeah.
Just regulations, I think it'll sort it out.
All right, get going, mate. You've got grayscale now. You'll be able to figure everything out.
I